All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today we're cracking open a case file. And this is a crime that, it happens all the time, every single day. But this one is personal. It's dramatic. So let's get into it. We are investigating the case of the phishing scam.
Okay, so picture this. You're on a school trip, you're all hyped for a big competition, and your teacher, Miss E, she looks just sick to her stomach. She's staring at her laptop in the hotel lobby and she says this. Just like that, the trip, the competition, everything just hangs in the balance. And this is why. This is what she was looking at. $5,000. The entire savings of the high school debate club just gone, wiped clean from their bank account. So the big question is, right? How does $5,000 from a high school club just poof, vanish into thin air? This is the mystery we're going to unravel. It's a story packed with deception, some serious digital detective work, and, a pretty intense high school rivalry. All right, let's dive in. So it all kicks off with this super public, kind of embarrassing moment right at the hotel check-in. The advisor, Miss E, she goes to pay for the rooms, card declined. Tries again, declined. So she pulls out her laptop, logs into the bank account right there in the lobby, and that's when she sees it. The balance is zero. Her students are, of course, freaking out, asking how this could have possibly happened. And that's when Miss E remembers something, a critical clue. She says she only logged in because she got what she thought was great news in an email. A former student wanted to make a donation. But that email, that was the bait. And that right there brings us to the actual crime at the heart of this whole thing, phishing. You've probably heard the term, but this is what it looks like in the wild. It's basically a digital con job. An attacker pretends to be someone you trust, like a generous former student, all to trick you into handing over the keys to your digital kingdom. So here's how the anatomy of this fish played out. It's a classic four-step move. First, the bait. That fake alumni email lands in Miss E's inbox. Second, the hook. She thinks it's legit, so she clicks the link inside. Third, the trap. That link doesn't go where she thinks. It takes her to a fake lookalike website where she, enters the bank login and password. And boom, step 4, the score. The hacker has full access and just drains the account. It's that fast. Okay, so now we know what happened and how it happened. The next big question is, who did it? The students, they're not just sitting around. They get some help from a cybersecurity expert, a guy named Dr. J, and they start turning their attention to the who. It's officially time to build a list of suspects. And right off the bat, the investigation zeroes in on their main rivals at the tournament, a debater named Pharaoh Ickles and his teammate, Shea Tan. I mean, think about it. As the rival team, they had the clearest motive to mess with Mrs. E's club. And what do you know? A little piece of evidence pops up that points right at them. So get this. Here's the first real clue. One of the students, Cass, she actually overhears Pharaoh Ickles talking before anyone really knew the money was gone, saying her school was broke. Later, when they're confronted, his own teammate Shea basically throws him under the bus, saying, yeah, Pharaoh was the one telling me your club was broke. That's really suspicious. How would he know that so early? Meanwhile, while the kids are playing detective on the ground, their expert, Dr. J, is hitting the keyboards. He's doing the digital forensics, tracing the money trail to see exactly where that $5,000 ended up. And oh boy, what he finds is, well, it's pretty damning. The timeline is crystal clear. The money gets yanked from the debate club's account. It's immediately transferred to an investment account, an account opened in Pharaoh Ickles' name. And then the kicker. The entire investment goes belly up overnight. So the money's gone for good, but the digital footprints lead straight to our rival. Okay, so that money trail, that changes the whole game. We're updating the case file. Pharaoh Ickles isn't just a person of interest anymore. Nope, he is now our prime suspect. But, the digital trail tells us the what, but it doesn't tell us the why. Why would he go to all this trouble? And then, bam, a huge break in the case. Dr. J overhears another conversation, this time between Pharaoh and his teammate, and it gives us the motive. It turns out Pharaoh had already lost a bunch of money from his own family trust fund. He was desperate to pay it back within 30 days before his grandfather found out. So that $5,000, it wasn't about sabotage. It was a panicked attempt to cover his own tracks. And the evidence just keeps stacking up. Cass does a little snooping in Ickles' hotel room and finds, get this, a typed-out list of how he planned to invest the stolen $5,000. And even worse, a brochure from Ms. E's exact bank with instructions on how to transfer funds. This wasn't a spur-of-the-moment thing. This was planned. So, okay, we've got the who, the how, and the why. It seems pretty open and shut, right? But there's still this one nagging question. Out of everyone in the world, why target Ms. E specifically? Was it just random luck? Or is there some deeper connection we're missing that made her the perfect target? And here it is. This is the final twist that just ties everything together with a bow. The investigation digs up this little detail. Years ago, Ms. E had a short-term job at a law office. And guess who one of that firm's clients was? A guy named Amar Ickles, Pharaoh's relative who was being charged with, wait for it, fraud and embezzlement. It looks like financial crime kind of runs in the family. And that's the connection. That's how Pharaoh knew who she was and picked her out of the crowd. So the team has a mountain of evidence, but it's all circumstantial, right? They need a smoking gun. They need something undeniable. They need a confession. So they come up with a plan to set a trap and get Pharaoh to admit everything on tape. And the plan is it's brilliant and simple. Cass goes to Pharaoh's own teammate, Shay, and convinces him to wear a wire. Well, put his phone in his pocket and hit record. Shay, who really wants to clear his own name in all this, he agrees. He's going to confront Pharaoh and get the whole thing on audio. And it works. It works perfectly. Shay confronts him, and Pharaoh doesn't even try to deny it. He just comes right out and confesses, calling Miss E that poetry teacher and admitting he fished her. And then he blames Cass for being smart enough to figure it all out. The recording catches this final kind of chilling exchange. Shay asks him what he plans to do about it. And Pharaoh's response? It's not sorry. It's aggressive. He says, I'll fix it, then I'll fix her. Wow, that's a confession and a threat all rolled into one. So, with that recording, it's game over. The evidence is just undeniable. They confront Pharaoh Ickles, they play the tape, and he's immediately reported to security and the police. Case closed. The fisher has been found. Okay, so why did we walk through this whole story? Because the exact same tricks they used on Miss E are being used on you, on me, on millions of people every single day. So let's pull the lessons from this case. These are the red flags you got to look for. 1. An unexpected email from a supposedly trusted source. 2. A feeling of urgency or a crazy good opportunity. 3. Any request for your sensitive info. And 4. Just an unusual vibe. Like, why would an alumni need your bank login to donate? You got to stop and ask yourself, does this actually make sense? Look, we solved this case together. We walked through the clues, we found the bad guy, but the real test, it isn't solving a mystery in an explainer like this. It's spotting the fisher who could be sitting in your own inbox right now. So the question I'll leave you with is, could you solve that case?